And as the Knicks get more aggressive, if you're George Hill, you got to take that thing to the basket.
Oh, what a shot!
He's special. He's a crowd quieter, that's for sure.
Hibbert, Stevenson, ahead now to Paul George. Nice pass to Hill.
And it becomes contagious. Lance has created a lot of this. I mean, for Lance Stevenson, for a lot of things that he's done, he's created.
Comes away with a rebound. He goes right to the basket and spins it in.
How do you get that one to go? That ball looked like it was not going to crawl above the rim, but it had enough momentum.
Guarded by Corey Brewer, who played last year in Denver. And Paul George with a jump shot. Paul George, his first 3 attempt. Yeah, I like the way I'm seeing him lift. Paul George had 8 first quarter points, 3 of 3 from the field. Paul George attacks Pekovic, gets inside and scores.
How did that look?
Stolen by Paul George. He's off and running. And hammers it.
Ooh, he slams it. Gets this crowd into it.
This crowd saw Indiana score early. On back-to-back nights on Tuesday, they won at home. Here's Paul George over Stackhouse.
Yeah, way to go, Paul.
Right to the basket.
Oh, you can't stand under there and wait for that.
Indiana, the top defensive team in the league. Now to stop there, and now George with the drive and reverse scores it and draws the foul.
Well, here's the thing with George, as with most ball handlers, you cannot allow them to beat you to the baseline.
Stevenson to George in rhythm from distance, and he drains it. The triple for Paul George.
Game on, George.
West with the screen, Hill with the lane. Baseline dish to George, got it. Pacers out of a 20-second timeout to George. They trail 56-31, 3 to play in the half. Stevenson's open, he hits it. Paul George with the basketball. 3 seconds, 2 for George, and he hits it. With 7/10 of a second to play in the Hannah. Paul George dribbles into his own shot and sticks it. And the Pacers get a jam from George. George with a crossover. A deadly deuce there. Paul George feels it, fires, fills it up. Hill to David West against Josh Smith. Paul George with a leaner, and he got it.
But Indiana all over the board.
Paul George right to the basket.
Paul George with a couple of great passes, and there with the emphatic finish over Zeller.
George Hill's going to pull it out. Paul George goes to the rim for the emphatic dunk over the shot blocker, Sanders.
That'll get you going. The York.
Oh, got that steal too.
And here he goes.
Here we go.
PG
What you got?
puts on
Oh,
the
yeah! Oh, he's
no
gonna be the
question.
one. Oh,
That
my
is
goodness.
the one. Look at it.
Oh, boy.
Oh, what a pass to Scola. Hey, that's a part of his game also, which is...
Paul George with the up fake.
Down to 5 seconds. Ball's deflected away. West. George fires for the tie. He's got it! George! Here comes George. Got the step and stuffs. What a move! It counts on the foul. He beat LeBron James with that quick step.
We are seeing a superstar in the making here with Paul George. Gets the step on LeBron James and
On another behind-the-back pass from Paul George.
Well, he anticipated getting the ball back.
A 9-point lead. Here's Paul George, a 3.
Oh, that was sweet.
Now Paul George tees up a 3.
Brains it from downtown.
Working on his stuff. Dumped! I mean, dumped! And Mike Brown took another timeout because you just had a guy dribble.
Blocked by Paul George. Welcome to the NBA.
No question, he came a long way to get that one.
George still looking for his first point. Falling away, count it, and a foul.
Puts it on the floor and hits. He scored 5 in a row. Jumper, George through the contact and scores. This is back in January of 2011. George falling away, able to hit over Bargnani. Here's George for 3. It's good for Paul George. George driving past his man. Beautiful hang and score by Paul George, and it's a 4-point Pacer lead. They work it around to an open George, lets it fly.
Guess who? A time I've never seen Carmelo work harder.
Here's George off balance, and George with 31 points.
Well, he's got to come get that ball. Don't put it in George Hill's hands right now. Paul George has to be the guy.
Here's George falling away. Hits another off balance.
She's good. That's a big part of being great is you got to know it.
High point score. That's a nice shot there by Paul George.
To the post. Paul George showing some moves at the rim.
He's just gotten so much stronger now. Russell shooting 0 for 5 beyond the arc, 6 for 7, 3 out of 4 from beyond the arc in the corner, making 4 out of 5. He's just Paul George tearing it up. The pass showing all kinds of moves and a nifty little fin off of the Thunder. 10 seconds to shoot. Lamb offering ear-splitting approval. George Senior. George step around James.
Paul George, how do you do?
Well, Paul George has been in a struggle offensively. His shooting percentage has dropped every month, but here, attacking the rim.
He's against Paul. To the baseline to freedom. New part of their attack. And good of George anywhere on that left block. Ball's going to be called. +1. Dudley. You talk about a meteoric rise.
3, bingo!
Paul down the lane. Broken up by George. He'll go all the way.
You talking about make something out of nothing. Frustrating. And there it is. This is triple-double. So you can see these guys got pushed.
Paul George gets in and dunks it.
And he's so good off the dribble.
Paul George in all kinds of traffic scores. He just found a way to get that thing on the glass. Paul gets up and in off the glass.
You won't see a tougher shot than that.
Got rid of Damari Carroll and knocks down a 2. Paul steps back, fires a 3. Look out here.
Grego only playing 9 minutes a game, playing a season-high 15 minutes in the game against Portland.
Boss gets the foul as Hibbert gets the end one. Late shot clock. Step back 3 by George. Up by Stevenson. George for 3.
Off that screen. Well set there.
Paul George against Kawhi Leonard and gets the jumper to go. And I like how Leonard guarding Paul George. Step back jumper by PG is good. Second field goal for Paul. He's 2 for 4 tonight. George hits the 3. Off a screen from West. Paul George free throw line jumper. He has shot it better tonight. He's got 11, 4 of 16. Thiago Splitter has 9. Paul George drives on Leonard.
You see, he's driving on everybody. Everybody's there watching him. And this is just too hard for him.
Turnaround jump shot by PG is good. He's got 16. And Greg Popovich takes a timeout. 7:41 to 10,
and then rolled it off the leg of Noah. Lead pass ahead. Paul George runs in. Layup good. Foul by Derek. Drive and a finish by Paul George. He just went sailing in there.
You've got to.
Well, he's going to get a lesson. I mean, I don't think there's any question about that. Paul George.
Here, and here's the alley-oop. Paul George throws it down.
Yes!
I'd like to say, can that be the one on Fox Sports Live, but that was back in 36-30 Indiana. And that's, not to talk badly about Jan Mahindi, but I just think sometimes you got to know why you're open.
That's the other reason why you don't take him out with 2 fouls. Both getting into their off.
Now Paul George. It's a tough shot over on the other baseline.
And Mike Harris is in the ballgame because Favors has those fouls.
Brooks goes baseline around Scola. His shot is knocked down. Indiana running up in the front court, and look what George just did.
His athleticism, he's so long and athletic, it's off the chart.
Well, against us. I don't know. But he's got a solid set of skills, and there's a steal. Watch out, George. Showtimes it with the left hand.
Could Allen here.
Paul George
Wow, another big shot. This is a team that was 0 for 12 from three-point land.
Hung around all night long.
Right, and that's why I said it, because they were getting beaten 20s, sometimes 30. They just weren't in a lot of games. You're seeing Paul George athletic.
3-point lead here early, 5 minutes gone. George knocks down 2.
Yeah, Favarani.
George looking for a shot, takes it, makes it. George, little heat check. West in a mismatch, kicks it back to George. George the jumper, 2. Up to George, easy 2. Foul on Scola. Gets it over to George. George knocks down a 3.
Paul George, who has blossomed into a star, trying to fend off Anderson. Off the dribble, pull-up pop.
Boy, Anderson made him work for that.
Wow. Oh, man. Rainbow delivery for Paul George. George, that's a 3. Shooting practice.
Sure was. He was just parked over there.
Opening up the second half with a 3. So smooth in that delivery. And then George hits a 3.
Right.
For 43 points. George forcing his way in. And there's the turnaround with the soft, feathery touch. The crossover, the jumper. Paul George. Wow. Watson steps in front. Another steal. Lead pass, George. Look out. Reverse jam. That baseline jumper, Paul George. Beautiful looking stroke. He's got 26 points.
Back the other way and puts it up and in, and the Pacers have the lead.
Again, Scola keeps it live.
The numbers show that Thornton is in a deep slump, but you know he is capable of coming out.
Back in 2 or 3 like it was nothing.
Post out to Paul George, and his three-point shot perfect.
Paul just went the wrong way. He had it on the inside. David West.
PG for 3.
He's right there.
Count it, and a foul. Thornton for 3. And the Pacers have tied it.
Yes, sir. Come on, hey, go down.
He got it. Paul George hits the 3 and draws the foul.
Oh, my goodness. He came off of that one with some steam.
We're tied. George, jumper, good.
Yeah, in overtime, you're the best defensive team in the league. And George Hill comes up with a steal. Take it all away. Oh, yeah. He makes a really good play with Paul George.
Drives on Williams. Floats it up for 2.
You can call it the Nowitzki. You call it anybody you want. That's a step back, one leg. There
Here's
you go.
Stevenson.
You just space, and they space, and you had George Hill, David West on the outside. Yep.
And here's Paul George with a dunk.
Just find the open man usually on the weak side, and they get a wide open three-point shot out of that. And Paul George gets a steal, and a very solid pass there by George Hill. G2 zones connect.